Hello, beautiful people. I hope you're having a beautiful day today. And I wanted to share two things that I, as an empath and a very highly sensitive person, have been able to use to navigate my emotions. Because I feel like when you are really highly sensitive, or when you are an empath, or whatever you want to label it, whatever you want to call it, we can feel like a victim to the constant shifting and changing and waves of our emotions. And our emotions can come on really quickly and they can kind of completely overtake our experience. So I wanted to share two things that have really helped me process emotions, that have really helped me deal with them. Um, and I hope that even if this video only helps like two people, I hope that it helps somebody. So, the first thing that I wanted to talk about is whenever you feel something, to see it as if you're watching your inner child experience those emotions. This really helps with self compassion, because I think that's something a lot of us empaths or highly sensitive people really struggle with, is self compassion. We can be really hard on ourselves when we are experiencing a negative. I don't even like to call emotions negative, because I don't really think that. I think that that kind of creates its own issue, but when we experience emotions that are uncomfortable for us to be in, we can beat up on ourselves for feeling that emotion, and then that creates even more resistance to that emotion, and it makes it even harder for us to separate ourselves from it, or not separate ourselves from it, but it makes it even harder for us to step back and have awareness of what's going on. And self hatred and being self critical, especially when you're going through having feelings that are uncomfortable, it just makes it even worse. So looking at your inner child as if your inner child is the one that's angry, or your inner child is the one that's crying and that's upset, it can really help you cultivate that self compassion, and really help you see that all that's going on is that when you were little, if you got triggered by something when you were little, you experienced something that you were not able to process, an emotion that you were not able to process, and then that emotion got stuck. It's like energy that's stuck in your body. And whenever you get triggered, or whenever it comes up, sometimes things come up for no reason, and we're like, why is this here? And it's not as important to kind of criticize why it's there as it is to feel that emotion. And so just close your eyes and see this little child experiencing whatever emotion you're feeling, and just be with that child, and just hold space for that child to feel those emotions. Give it words of affirmation. Tell them that everything is going to be okay, and that what they're feeling is perfectly okay and right and valid, considering what they've been through. Because when we're children, like, we don't know how to deal with things, so we just kind of like, especially if you had an adult that told you that what you were feeling wasn't okay. So if you were angry and you were told to shut up, or you were told that being angry wasn't okay, or if you were sad and you were told that you had nothing to be sad about, you had something to be sad about. Whatever you're feeling in any given moment is completely valid, and there's nothing that anyone can say that will make it invalid. So that's the first thing that I have used, that's really helped me cultivate self-compassion for myself whenever I'm feeling angry or sad, or feelings of grief come up. Instead of going to that self-critical place, like, why am I feeling this? I shouldn't be feeling this. This is so stupid. Da, 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 you're so stupid for feeling this. Whatever you say to yourself, whatever story you come up with to invalidate yourself, it's harder to do that when you are looking at a child. So that's the first thing. The second thing that I've used is to completely focus on the physical sensation of the emotion in your body, because that's what an emotion is. It's a physical sensation, it's a physical experience in our body. So when you get sad, it's a certain feeling. So when you're angry, it's a certain feeling. It feels like for me, anger feels like a burning kind of like in my lower stomach or in my chest. Sadness kind of feels like my throat closing up or whatever. And what I do is, and this has helped me work through things that like I didn't, that would have ruined my whole day. But doing this process, I was able to sit with it for about 20 minutes, and I was just completely present with the physical sensation, and I don't entertain the story of it. So, for example, I'll give you an example of how this really helped me this one time. It can sound kind of silly, but I went to this shop. I bought a bunch of crystals I was really excited about. The shop was about an hour and a half away. Came back home, realized I had left all the crystals at the shop. I put them down or something. And I felt really sad because I was really excited. Like, crystals are like my friends. Like, they're like alive to me. I mean, crystals are alive, but um like they have a consciousness. Here's my little rose quartz. I'm gonna hold her. And I was really sad because I was really happy that I had gotten crystals. And before, that would have that would have ruined my whole day. Like, that would have just been like, oh, now this day is gonna be awful because I left my crystals at the shop or something. But what I did is I went into my room, I laid down, and I focused completely on the physical sensation of what it felt like in my body. And oftentimes, what I find is that it's not really about what happened, but it's like what I'm telling myself that it means. So I'm like, I'm so stupid that I left those crystals, and I'm so forgetful. Literally, like, the emotions I was feeling was as a result of those thoughts. And doing this, you can become more aware of the stories that you're telling yourself, um, and uh, just allow the stuck energy to leave. Because when you focus on the stuck energy in your body, which is what like sadness or anger often is when it comes up, it's old stuck energy that wants to come out, but the only way it can come out is if we feel it. So just closing your eyes. If you're watching this because you're in a bad mood or something, or you just happen to stumble across this video, I have like no subscribers, so we'll see how this works. But just drop down into your body and find where it is in your body and just completely zero in and completely focus on the physical sensation. Don't entertain the stories that are going on in your mind about it. You can deal with those later, but just for 5 minutes, just sit down, breathe, and just completely focus on it. And usually, and while you're doing this, while I'm doing this, I usually just say, I'm completely here with this right now. It's okay that this is here. And not trying to get it to leave. So you're not focusing on it to make the emotion go away. You're focusing on it just so you can be with it, because you know, it's you that's going through this, and you want to be there for yourself. So this goes back to the self-compassion thing, but these are two things that have really, really helped me as a highly sensitive and empath, or whatever you want to label it as. I'm someone who has very deep, 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 deep feelings, and I feel them in throughout my whole being, my whole body. They overtake my whole reality, and I think that a lot of people can relate to that. And it's very isolating. It can feel very alone when you're experiencing these, because especially if you're an empath who's surrounded by people who aren't like that, it can make you feel like there's something wrong with you, and there's not anything wrong with you. You were given these emotions, and I'm not these emotions. You were given the ability to feel these emotions for a reason. It is a gift that you were able to feel so deeply. It's a gift that you're able to feel so deeply for others, because you were put on this planet to bring light and love, but you have to bring that to yourself first before you're able to give it to other people. And it's especially important to give yourself love when you aren't feeling lovable, when you aren't feeling good, when you're feeling like shit. That's when it's really important. It's easy for us to be nice to ourselves when we feel accomplished and we feel loved by other people and we feel accepted by other people. But when we feel angry, when we feel sad, when we feel grief, that's when it's important for us to cultivate that self-compassion, to cultivate that presence with ourselves. So I hope that this helps somebody, and I hope you have a beautiful day. Bye.